right, Nigeria fell behind Angola to lose its place as Africa's top producer of crude oil for the month of April. Now, that's according to data from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. And according to the April 2023 Monthly Oil Market Report, MOMR, published by the oil cartel, Angola recorded 1.06 million barrels per day of crude production in April, up from 972,000 barrels per day recorded in March. But Nigeria recorded an output of 999,000 barrels per day in April, compared to 1.3 million barrels per day in March. The April output figure represented the lowest production the nation has recorded in 2023. On an annual basis, Nigeria's output level also indicated a drop of 16.7% to 999,000 barrels per day in April 2023 from 1.2 million barrels per day recorded in the corresponding period of April 2022. In recent years, Nigeria has recorded a surge in pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft incidents in its oil producing region. Now, this is a development that has worsened the nation's revenue challenge. Now, the recent drop in the country's oil production comes at a time when the Nigerian government postponed the June deadline for subsidy removal. Earlier in the month, data from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, showed that Nigeria produced an average of 998,602 barrels of crude oil per day in April. Now, the figure represents a fall in production from the 1.2 million barrels recorded in March. And we do have joining us virtually Victor. Oh, hi. Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us. Well, unfortunately, time is not on our side this morning,
Yes.
but we'll do the much we can. Now, how would you say Nigeria has, how did we go from 1.3 million barrels per day to 999 in just a month?
Well, I think we have to be. There are a lot of factors that can be adduced to that. Of course, the issue of theft and oil pipeline vandalism that you mentioned, these are things that have been ongoing and all that. But you know that I cannot rule out the fact that the elections may have contributed in one way or another, and the reason is simple. We During election periods, we deploy all our resources, manpower into electioneering. And so in coastal areas, or if you like, the areas like where this crude oil is extracted from and all that, you can be sure that all the military forces there would have been deployed as well, whether the Navy and the rest of them. People are busy, all eyes are on government and the election. And so when that happens, it's like when the cat goes to sleep, the mice will just go to work. So you can be sure that that could have been a contributory factor, apart from the fact that even the people in government almost comes to a standstill, because that is a period when everybody is busy trying to curry favors, either from the incoming government. Immediately after election, everybody moves to either Abuja or wherever the incoming administration will be lobbying, trying to see how they can remain in government. And so when that happens, governance comes to a standstill. So practically, that could have helped. But we must not ignore the fact also that Angola, if not because of problems we're having in the past, Angola is heavily resourced, even in the oil sector. It's just that they haven't had their acts together. Like talking about a country like DRC, for instance, which is probably the richest country under the earth, underground on earth. Let me put it that way. I'm playing with words here now. Because of the resources that they have, but because they have not had peace, that's why they've not been able to exploit it to the maximum. I am not surprised that Angola has taken over or has overtaken us in this 1 month. And if you ask me, I think they might even sustain it, because they do have that much resources at their disposal. And when you have the statement in place, and less corruption, unlike in the case of Nigeria, I can assure you that the figures you see are not even the actual figures. We have produced far more, but theft and diversion, has practically robbed us of the actual figures of what we produce. You know, that's what I would say at the moment. Yeah.
All right, Victor, would we say that pipeline vandalism is one of the main cause for the reduction in terms of oil output, in this part of the world? Would we say oil vandalism is one of the major reasons why there was a drop?
Well, while vandalism has always been there, even when the figures are higher, of course it contributes, but that cannot be blamed for it. In fact, I think instead of looking at, because it's easy to just look at and say, oh, vandalism and all that, but are we also looking at the fact that Angola is doing something better? Of course there is a drop of over 16%, so that we can begin to talk about that. But I think that more than anything else, first, vandalism has always been there. If there is a major case of vandalism, it will be in the news. The ones that have been going on, yes. Theft, yes. But more than anything else, I think that what would have contributed largely is the fact that as soon as election is, I don't have the figures right now. I wish I could do a comparative.
Victor, did you say that if it was a major case of vandalism, that it would be in the news?
Of course, the ones that are going on are ongoing. We know that happens all the time.
Okay.
If there is one that can cause that much drastic drop,
all right,
very obvious one, to the extent that the drop is by 16%, it will be so obvious you cannot hide it. I think that the main reason for this is the fact that the people in government and those who should be ensuring that our standards, the production quota are maintained, they're all busy lobbying for. This is a period for lobbying. Government is asleep right now.
All right.
Nothing is happening.
Victor.
That could have contributed more than anything else.
All right then. Thank you very much. Now, I want to ask a quick one. How often do we maintain the pipelines? Because corrosion is another thing that can destroy a pipeline and affect the production. How often do you think we maintain them?
See, the issue, I think we are taking on well-worn reasons for our inefficiencies. We all know that maintenance culture is terrible in this country. I know that there was a time when the issue of how often these pipelines are maintained or how regularly they should be maintained came up and all that. So, because I'm not in the oil industry, I cannot tell you how regularly you should either change pipeline or change whether the seals or things that should. The maintenance of the pipeline,
well,
frankly, has not. Sorry, let me just say this.
Okay.
Frankly, may not contribute to this. What you see here, when you are talking about theft or vandalism, it has nothing to do with the maintenance. Because if it is vandalism, it's not about maintenance. Of course, you may say that, but when you talk about vandalism, people actually drill this near to impossible pipes, but they have the tools. So that would not have anything to do with the maintenance. The problem of maintenance would be leakages. Those leakages are sometimes caused, of course, the vandalism causes fire as well, but you see them seeping into the environment and all that. That's where the issue of maintenance comes in. In this particular case, maintenance is not the reason for this drastic drop.
Okay.
Within a month, you have such a huge drop. It's the reasons are more far-fetched than just looking at maintenance.
All right. Now that this is what we are faced with, what do you think government should do to up production in coming months?
Well, I think that the problem will subsist in this month as well. But as soon as the new government is sworn in, and when people are sure now that their jobs are secure, will pick up again. But whether Angola will be waiting for us to catch up with them, I cannot guarantee you. They have their acts together. If we get our acts together, we might get up there. There is a quota after all, But as soon as this administration or the incoming administration, whoever it is sworn in, I think that things will pick up again.
And we
And,
also
yeah.
we also
Sorry?
do know that our budget is seriously hinged on production of oil. Do you think this will
Well,
affect budget going forward, implementation of the budgets going forward?
it would naturally, because these are projections based on inflows, and these inflows are projected mainly based on oil revenue, which is our main source of income. So it would naturally have that, what you call it now, it would naturally affect budget implementation. And another thing that would have helped again is the, what you call it now, the subsidy that should have been removed. I think for political reasons or whatever now, they are saying they are not doing it. It just appears that, it does appear to me that subsidy is one supplementary income source for people in government. Not, hear my language, not government, but for people in government. Maybe that's one way they're able to supplement their income or make money for themselves. Otherwise, why would any right-thinking person right now say that, you cannot remove, that they are suspending indefinitely? But maybe that's at the request of the incoming administration. But, obviously that, because this year's budget was predicated on that as well, and on projected incomes that will be coming from the removal of subsidy. But all that is going askew right now. So we'll have to wait and see how they balance it.
All right, then I must say a very big thank you to you, Victor Okai. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, police in Lagos get matching orders to arrest Shehu Kuti, son of Afrobeat legend Fela Kuti, for allegedly slapping a police officer. Now, that conversation is coming up in a moment. Stay with us.